AskReddit by Sam J. Reddit. What's a serious event in the world that few people know about? People in southern Madagascar have been facing a severe drought for the last 2 years. More than 1 million left starving. From Madagascar and currently in Madagascar RN. I confirm this : not a singular event, but that's why it basically forgotten about. The drying of the Aral Sea. It's been great seeing Kazakhstan stepping up, damming, and consequently slowly saving their side of it with fauna returning to the area. If only Uzbekistan could do the same. Syria. Congo cobalt mines. The cobalt mines are just insane. The entire world should know about this but doesn't. To see the images of them is really sad. There is a civil war in Myanmar, formerly Burma, between a junta coup and the people who are anti-junta. The junta are responsible for the coup that saw the deposition of a popular democratically elected politician. It is insane what has happened is going on there. The whole military junta in control for decades, followed by voluntary democratic reform, with the cooperation of a woman who was jailed for 15 years and is a Nobel Peace Prize winner, only to be followed by the most recent coup. I remember watching that fitness instructor video on YouTube where the military vehicles roll down the street in the background when the coup started. But the real tragedy is the campaign of ethnic cleansing genocide being carried out on the Rohingya people, a Muslim minority ethnic group. Even the now deposed Nobel Peace Prize winner has now been accused of ignoring being complicit with the genocide. Tunguska blast. Meteor blew up a few hundred meters above the forest in Siberia. Flattened hundreds of acres of trees. Only 2 or 3 minutes earlier, and it would have airburst over any number of European capital cities. Not just hundreds, but as much as 500,000 acres, or 2,000 square km. Estimated to be about a 12 megaton explosion. This August a vaccine for cancer will begin human trials in the UK using the mRNA innovations from the COVID-19 vaccine. It should be able to directly target cancer cells and only cancer cells, much superior to chemotherapy. A vaccine for Lyme disease has been completed using the same technology. And a vaccine for malaria has been developed using the same technology. One of the silver linings of the pandemic was that it pushed the development of mRNA vaccines ahead by leaps and bounds. Necessity really is a mother of invention, I guess. Pol Pot wiped out almost a quarter of Cambodia's population during his reign using the Khmer Rouge. He died peacefully in his sleep in 1998, never being held accountable. Everyone knows what the Holocaust is. Everyone. There's an entire class in school about it. But what very few people know is the event that started it all. The 29th of September, Ukraine. The massacre at Babi Yar. I seriously recommend that you look into it. I've explained this horror story too many times before. During the Babi Yar massacre, 33,771 Jews were killed in 2 days. To put it in perspective, that is approximately 1 person killed every 1.2 seconds for 2 days. Pretty terrifying if you think about it. 2 Mark 39 hydrogen bombs were accidentally dropped over Goldsboro, North Carolina on the 23rd of January, 1961. Thankfully they never detonated. Detonated atomic bomb over NC 2013-9. I can top that. 2 American military aircrafts, one of them carrying 4 hydrogen bombs, collided in flight and fell in Almeria, on the Spanish coast. https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/1966_palomares_b-52_crash. The Mount Tobar eruption that decimated the human population around 70,000 years ago. It could have been the end for us. Already almost 19k suicides this year. In 7 days. Jesus Christ. It took me to watch HBO Watchmen to learn about the Tulsa Massacre. Like as many history classes I've had, and not once was it brought up as wild. Same here. I thought they made it up at first. I don't know how many people know this, but I haven't seen many people talking about the folk dwelling near massive landfills of trash in India, and making living by scavenging the trash and selling items for the little profit they live off of. I was taught about this in elementary school. 30 years ago. Slavery is still abroad and very few are willing to acknowledge it. Some things may click if you realize they rebranded slavery as human trafficking. The amount of people who don't know what the 7 Years' War was is pretty surprising. While it was mostly between England and France in the 1750s, it was basically World War Z, being fought by several nationals on a global stage. For people in the US, the French and Indian War was actually just a small part of the 7 Years' War. This was fought in Europe, the Americas, Asia, and Africa. It led into revolutions in the Americas and Europe and was a precursor to the Napoleonic Wars. The 30 Years' War and the wars of religion in general were devastating, both by the wartime death toll and the civilian casualties through atrocities, famine and disease. As a Brit, I knew almost nothing of the Cambodian genocide by the Khmer Rouge until I went to Cambodia. A recent event but not something in our syllabus. There is a civil war in Yemen. Yemen is a country located in the Arabian Peninsula. I don't think this qualifies as a civil war. It's a proxy war. The Carrington event. It was the most severe recorded geomagnetic storm that happened in the 1800s. It was so powerful it set fires in telegram stations. If we had one of equal strength today, it would be catastrophic, and I'm pulling a number out of my ass here. The death toll would probably be in the millions because of how much most of the developed world depends on power. Hospitals, aircraft, etc. That's on the more extreme end, of course. We get hit by smaller solar flares often and don't even realize. Real Engineering covered this a few years ago. According to his video, it turns out we are relatively well prepared. A lot of people in the West seem to be unaware that the Nazis didn't only target Jews, but they also planned complete extermination of Slavic people and killed about 30 million Slavic civilians because of their race. Majority of Soviet Union's WWII casualties were civilians. Thousands of villages in Belarus, Ukraine and Russia had their entire population burned alive by the Germans. Millions of people were intentionally starved to death, for example during blockade of Leningrad. I don't think they planned the complete extermination of the Slavs. What they did plan was to reduce them to a state of illiterate slavery, living on a sustenance diet while Germany plundered their resources. Not that the comparison was really accurate, but Hitler repeatedly referred to the Slavic countries as our India. A dictator's son was just elected in the Philippines a few months ago. My education didn't cover the breakup of Yugoslavia. https://en.wikipedia.org/breakup_of_Yugoslavia?w_FTI1 which is brutal and fascinating. Each country's response, fucked up leaders, and ensuing wars and genocides are all terrible events, and I wish I'd known more about it sooner. I went to school with a girl whose family fled Yugoslavia during that time. For reference, we were born in 92-93. I remember in middle school, our history teachers took advantage of the fact that was where she was from and educated us on the topic. I don't think I would have learned about it otherwise. Our graduating class was pretty large and there was a huge celebration when she got her citizenship. The whole school district was super invested in this girl's life because of what drove her family out of their home country. The Yemeni genocide. Saudi Arabia is attempting to overthrow the Houthis by destroying their territory to such an extent that everybody there is now starving. And they're using American-made weapons to do it. The Great Chinese Famine. The natural ones were horrific enough, but this was a man-made one. The scale of death is hard to comprehend. A series of famines that come about due to economic changes, collectivization of agriculture, in China between 1958 and 1961 range between 15 million and 55 million. The range itself is scary. Long-haul trucking in the US is dying. No one wants to do it because it pays poorly, and no one wants to get into it because the pay is really bad, and depending which company you try to go through, the benefits are also awful. I knew two guys that tried to become truckers. One gave up because he said 50% of truckers are drunk or on drugs and he didn't want to be involved when it comes out. The other got a job that paid way more just driving a box truck around the city. It's definitely going to be a problem when the current truckers are too old to keep going. Everything is going to get expensive and everyone will be super confused about why the poor got poorer. That's what trains are supposed to be for. I knew the comments here will make me feel more anxious about the world. Variety is the spice of life. Nanjing Massacre. Imperial Japanese Army raping and killing hundreds of thousands of Chinese. It's taught in school in New York, but you very know of it. One of the major reasons why I put Japan first place as the most brutal country during WW2 for its atrocities. When the government secured Nikola Tesla's work after he passed away. Unrelated, but this reminds me that the government also spied on people conducting their own research on UFOs, sus if you ask me, and have their own protocols for remote viewing. Why are they not telling us today? That China, despite not having any sophisticated matching system, is the world's second largest organ transplant industry in the world. Some human rights scientists noticed that in China one could get an organ donor with a 2-week turnaround. They thought, the US with one of the most sophisticated match system in the world, and the waitlist is years, math ain't adding up. Well, they looked into it, found out there is rampant organ harvesting from political prisoners, and they disappeared. Wanna guess where the majority of those organs turned out to be originating from? First, the followers of Falun Gong. And secondly, the Uyghur population is China's biggest source of organ harvesting. They were able to backcalc how many people must be dying a day to hit that mark, compared to in the US 2 weeks for an organ match. For Uyghur sourced organs alone, the prediction is 25,000-50,000 are being murdered annually. Many are being harvested while still alive so they can continue to be a source. The followers of Falun Gong? Even higher numbers initially, though this may have flipped by now. And people are claiming no genocide is happening. Bone chilling. Just gonna leave this here if you really want to feel sick to your stomach. China forcefully harvests organs from detainees. Tribunal concludes. https://www.nbcnews.com/news/China-forcefully-harvests-organs-detainees-tribunal-concludes-in 10186446 close bracket.